sebuah dunia yang baru di bawah ya kita. Orang zamani telah menubuh sebuah ajang saman. Kita bermain sherehe kijiji.
All right, so as you can see here on the screen, we have gone through our pathway, and we are now into a new world, or new version of the world, if you will. What we have here are our 6 tribes members right here. And what we have to do is get them over to the totem that you see here in front of us. And essentially what these tribes people are doing is kind of following the path of the ancients, or their ancestors, if you will. And as they do that, they come across new worlds, different totems. You know, it's a very, very kind of primitive yet simplistic environment that they have going on here. But essentially what we have to do is call our tribe from here and get them over to this totem. And what happens is the totem is kind of the centerpiece for a village. And in villages, you have the ability to it'll create more people, and you can further populate and expand your environment. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and close out our prompt here, and I'm going to call over some people. And like I referred to in the last section, you can see that the path has been divided. White here, meaning they can get to here, and then it became that orangish red. And these little icons here indicate that they need some sort of help in order to get across. So as we can see, we got a little bit of water blocking our path. So much like in our last one, what we're going to do is just build a bridge out of earth. So left trigger is going to do that. Absorb here, and let's move it across and just kind of create ourselves a natural bridge. Just going to drop the rest of that there and kind of zoom in and see what's going on. And each member you pick kind of tells you a little unique something about them. A lot of times you'll get kind of the same description for a lot of different people. But as you can see, they breathe life into these totems, and up comes villages. So let's kind of zoom in and see what we got going on here. All right, so we got our first village, but as you can see, the passage remains shut. The reason it has, as you'll see here, is because we have to basically get to all of our totems and populate them or colonize them, build villages around them. So just like the prompt says, what we're going to have to do is absorb the water around the totem, and so that way we can found a village. But first, before we do that, let's just kind of zoom in and I'll show you a little bit of what goes on in a village. I'm doing this by holding down the left bumper. Right analog stick will pan the camera up, down, around. Left analog stick doesn't really do anything. Right bumper in this view doesn't do anything. Right trigger and left trigger. Left trigger will absorb the bit of area around where your breath is at. As you can see, it's right there above our tribes person. And you let go of the left bumper and you're back into your omnipotent mode. From here, a couple of controls. So what I'm going to do is press the right bumper, and that's going to zoom us out to a world, more worldly view, more omnipresent view, if you will. So that way you can kind of you can very quickly go around. It's the same controls. Left stick moves your breath around. The right stick here only pans left and right. There is no up and down panning of the camera when you're in this mode. Right trigger, left trigger still manipulate the environment and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and proceed with our next objective, and that's to get some of our tribespeople from village right here across here over to this village. So I've come over here to our totem. I'm going to press A on it to call them over, but as you can see, I'm actually holding A now. This red circle here indicates that this place is not good to be inhabited. Something's wrong about it. Namely, we've got this water here that, like what it was explaining earlier, we need to absorb that water, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And there is a finite amount of absorbing you can do. So we've got our water here, but you can sort of see, it's a little hard, but right around here there's a little bit of water left. So I'm just going to drop this water off. One of the things I really like about this game are the water physics, the liquid physics, if you will. They're actually really well done. This game's got some really good graphics, especially for an Xbox Live arcade game. It's very nice. Very nice. I do like it. So, this totem here, we're going to go ahead and press A to see if it's inhabitable or not. It is. So we've started to call over our tribespeople. And what we got is some instructions, same as before. Let's build ourselves a bridge. So I'm going to go get some earth from over here. And drop it off. Now, one of the things about this game is that your tribespeople can die. So essentially, if I were to just up and absorb that bridge out from under them, they could, get sucked up into the water, the waves. They can drown. They will float along, and if they get onto a bit of land, they will grab on and make their way. But they can die. So know that as well. Now, some of you will probably enjoy that. Finding different and creative ways to just absolutely wipe out and destroy your villages. But the ultimate goal of the game is to not destroy the villages. It's actually to protect them and spread up on the territory here. So now what we've got brought up is another element of our game, and that's the gauge in the lower left-hand corner that shows the vegetation process across the territory. So one of the other kind of minor objectives, it's not absolutely required, is to spread vegetation, and it does it on its own, essentially, when there is earth available. And the more vegetation you have, the more different types of animals will come and inhabit your territory as well. Now, so far in the bit that I've played, the animals that show up don't harm your tribe at all. They just kind of show up and they're like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm a weird animal." And so what you got to do is, get basically earth or the stuff right around here, and get it near water, and that'll help populate into different plants and vegetation. So as you can see, this is kind of how the game works. So you populate each totem, and that opens up the next passage and into the next journey and the next territory. So what I'm going to do is, for the bit, just to end up this video, is what I'm going to do is just kind of help spread the vegetation until we max it out. Then I'm going to move our tribe into the passageway. And before we go too far, what we've got up here, right here, is actually a power or a bit of knowledge. In this case, it's just knowledge about the ancients, if I remember correctly. So what I'm going to do is call someone over to it and have them learn about it. And just do that by pressing the A button. That's your interact action button, if you will. All right, so we got our person over here. Let's see how they're doing. Oh, now we've got some, the territory's almost been completely covered in palms, as you can see from the dialogue. And it does it basically on its own. So all you have to do is kind of get land connected like what I did here just a moment ago with that little bridge. And as you can see, similar to like almost like a virus or something, it starts to spread out on its own. And here we go. We've got our first bit of animals. Yes, these are the size that you see. They are giant creatures that inhabit, you know, the different territories, and there are different ones that show up as you go along. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to come back over here to our bit of knowledge, see how our tribesperson's doing. As you can see here, this woman can build villages, gain knowledge, play music. So we want her to gain knowledge in this case, so I'm going to press A. And we've got ourselves a new story from memory, geology. So you can press the back button to access it, so that's what we'll do. And like you can see, some of these I've been playing for a little bit, so yours will be completely blanked out, except for the new one. But yeah, each one of these just shows you different things, so different bits of information, as you can see. All very musical as you move up and down as well. I won't go too much into these, but you know, feel free to take a look yourselves. It does give kind of the story of the game and how it goes through, and it's pretty interesting. If this is your type of thing, then definitely go through and read through it as you access it. I've read through most of them, so I'm going to kind of glaze through those because it's not really gameplay, and that's why we're here, is to play the game. So anyway, back to our actual gameplay. We're going to continue to spread the vegetation across the land here. Take some of this, help kind of build up a bit of a bridge, help block that water from completely just coming through here. And yeah, this is kind of how the game works. You have to do a lot of, divert water from here. These right here are actually springs, and they can be blocked up with enough earth. So, as you can see, did that. Water continues to flow until it dries out. Really cool physics in the game, by the way, because it can actually carve through, like it, and later on you got lava will carve through the earth, making paths. But as you can see, here comes our plant life, and down in the left corner we've hit 100% vegetation. Basically, yeah, it's still going, but the meter has been filled up. So now what we're going to do is move our tribe into our pathway here, our passage, and have them continue to pursue the quest of the ancients. Yes. So let's go ahead and call them over. Now, some parts of the game are timed. There are, kind of world events, if you will, in later parts of the game that are timed. But there are some times like this where there's, it's completely... You're free to move around. I'll zoom out and kind of give you an idea. So there is an invisible barrier to at least so far, every territory, every level, every world, if you will, that I've played. Some of them are a little obvious. This one's a bit more subtle. You can see some of the line if you do look for it. But considering it's a rather large population, from that view, got some texture pop in here and there. But yeah, anyway, so this is going to conclude our second edition here. So let's move over to our passage. And as you can see, they are ready to roll, rocking out and jamming. So what we're going to do is get them on the way and conclude our second edition of Let's Play From Dust. Hope everyone's enjoyed.